Hello, my name is Pastor Kris Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas. Greetings. We are reading through the Bible with commentary. We have made it through 2 books. We've read through Genesis and then Exodus, and now we're up to Leviticus. And the first 5 books of the Bible are known as the Pentateuch, and Leviticus is the middle of the Pentateuch. So Jewish people would have practically memorized the first 5 books of the Bible. And this book, Leviticus, has things that have to do with the priests. The priests themselves were the Levites. According to the introductory stuff that I just read, the Levites are hardly mentioned, but things Levitical are things having to do with the priests. And so most of what this book is about is how to do the sacrifices, which of course there's no more temple, there's no more tabernacle, we do not do sacrifices anymore. And yet we will see if we can glean some interesting information out of it anyway. But we're going to read through the whole Bible, then we're going to read through all of it, including Leviticus. I actually think Leviticus isn't that bad compared to when we get to Numbers. That one will be one that I'll try to see how we can get through Numbers without just falling asleep, because there are lots and lots of names in Numbers. But we're not in Numbers yet. We're still in Leviticus, which starts out talking about the burnt offering. The Lord summoned Moses and spoke to him from the tent of meeting, saying, "Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when any of you bring an offering of livestock to the Lord, you shall bring your offering from the herd or from the flock." That is either a cow or a sheep or goat. If the offering is a burnt offering from the herd, you shall offer a male without blemish. You shall bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting for acceptance in your behalf before the Lord. You shall lay your hand on the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be acceptable in your behalf as an atonement for you. The bull shall be slaughtered before the Lord, and Aaron's sons the priests shall offer the blood, dashing the blood against all sides of the altar that is at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The burnt offering shall be flayed and cut up into its parts. The sons of the priest of Aaron shall put fire on the altar and arrange wood on the fire. Aaron's sons, the priests, shall arrange the parts, with its head and the suet on the wood that is on the fire on the altar, but its entrails and its legs shall be washed with water. Then the priest shall turn the whole into smoke on the altar as a burnt offering, as an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord. So when it says turn the whole to smoke, that means burn up the whole thing. There's not like part of it used for the priests. It's you're burning up the whole offering. If your gift is a burnt offering, if your gift for a burnt offering is from the flock, from the sheep or the goats, your offering shall be a male without blemish. It shall be slaughtered on the north side of the altar before the Lord, and Aaron's sons the priests shall dash its blood against all sides of the altar. It shall be cut up into its parts with its head and suet, and the priest shall arrange them on the wood that is on the fire on the altar. But the entrails and the legs shall be washed with water. Then the priest shall offer up the whole and turn it into smoke on the altar. It is a burnt offering, an offering by fire, a pleasing odor to the Lord. Verse 14. If your offering to the Lord is a burnt offering of birds, in other words, you can't afford a cow or a sheep or a goat, and you're poor, then you can give 2 birds. You shall choose your offering from turtle doves or pigeons. The priest shall bring it to the altar and wring off its head and turn it into smoke on the altar, and its blood shall be drained out against the side of the altar. He shall remove its crop with its contents. They're not exactly sure what that means. Maybe it means taking out the insides, the guts of the bird to clean it. And throw it on the east side of the altar in the place for the ashes. He shall tear it open by its wings without severing it. Then the priest shall turn it into smoke on the altar, on the wood that is on the fire. It is a burnt offering, an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord. Chapter 2. Grain offerings. When anyone presents a grain offering to the Lord, the offering shall be of choice flour, The worshipper shall pour oil on it, and put frankincense on it, and bring it to Aaron's sons the priests. After taking from it a handful of the choice flour and oil, with all of its frankincense, the priest shall turn this token portion into smoke on the altar, an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord. And what is left of the grain offering shall be for Aaron and his sons, a most holy part of the offerings by fire to the Lord. So in this particular case, one handful goes to God, is burnt up. The rest goes to the priests that are there in the temple. Verse 4. When you present a grain offering baked in the oven, so that's the first one was if you're just bringing grain, not any way prepared, just raw grain. This one is, verse 4, a grain offering baked in the oven, it shall be of choice flour, unleavened cakes mixed with oil, or unleavened wafers spread with oil. If your offering is grain prepared on a griddle, it shall be of choice flour mixed with oil, unleavened. Break it in pieces and pour oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your offering is grain prepared in the pan, it shall be made of choice flour and oil. You shall bring to the Lord the grain offering that is prepared in any of these ways, and when it is presented to the priest, he shall take it to the altar. The priest shall remove from the grain offering its token portion, and turn this into smoke on the altar, an offering by fire of pleasing odor to the Lord. And what is left of the grain offering shall be for Aaron and his sons, is a most holy part of the offering by fire to the Lord. So whether it's raw grain or cooked, if you cook it up, you can cook it up as a griddle cake, as a flatbread, but then you take a portion of it and turn it into smoke, burn it up, and the rest is for the priests. Verse 11, no grain offering that you bring to the Lord shall be made with leaven, for you must not turn any leaven or honey into smoke as an offering by fire to the Lord. You may bring them to the Lord as an offering of choice products, but they shall not be offered on the altar for a pleasing odor. You shall not omit from your grain offerings the salt of the covenant with your God. With all your offerings you shall offer salt. So you have to bring salt and oil, but no yeast. And if you want to give some honey or yeast, you give that separately, not as part of the main offerings. Verse 14, if you bring a grain offering of first fruits to the Lord, you shall bring as the grain offering of your first fruits coarse new grain from fresh ears parched with fire. You shall add oil to it and lay frankincense on it. It is a grain offering. And the priest shall turn a token portion of it into smoke, some of the coarse grain and oil with all its frankincense. It is an offering by fire to the Lord. It feels like this is going to be a long time, but it's talking about how do they give an offering to Lord? How do they want to do it? They have to do it right. So, of course, nowadays we do not burn up things for God, but that doesn't mean that we should not be giving things to God. We can give God some of our time, some of our money, and there's lots of ways to still be giving to God and making offerings to God other than burning up our livestock, since most of us don't have livestock anyway. Chapter 3. If the offering is a sacrifice of well-being, if you offer an animal of the herd, whether male or female, you shall offer one without blemish before the Lord. You shall lay your hand on the head of the offering and slaughter it at the entrance of the tent of meeting. And Aaron's sons the priests shall dash the blood against all sides of the altar. You shall offer from the sacrifice of well-being, as an offering by fire to the Lord, the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat that is around the entrails, the 2 kidneys with the fat that is on them at the loins, and the appendage of the liver, which he shall remove with the kidneys. Then Aaron's son shall turn these into smoke on the altar, with the burnt offering that is on the wood of the fire, as an offering by fire, a pleasing odor to the Lord. So there's different kinds of offerings, and this particular one is an offering of well-being. So you're making an offering and you're getting to share with it. Verse 6, if your offering of sacrifice of well-being to the Lord is from the flock, male or female, you shall offer one without blemish. Don't be giving God your beat-up crap. Don't be giving God your misformed animal. Give him the good one. Give him the one that's not misformed. If you present a sheep as your offering, you shall bring it before the Lord and lay your hand on the head of the offering. It shall be slaughtered before the tent of meeting, and Aaron's sons shall dash its blood against all the sides of the altar. You shall present its fat from the sacrifice of well-being as an offering by fire to the Lord. The whole broad tail, which shall be removed close to the backbone, the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat that is around the entrails, the 2 kidneys with the fat that is on them at the loins, and the appendage of the liver, which you shall remove with the kidneys. Then the priest shall turn these into smoke on the altar as a food offering by fire to the Lord. So all the fat gets to go with the kidneys to be burned up. Verse 12, if your offering is a goat, you shall bring it before the Lord, and lay your hand on its head, and it shall be slaughtered before the tent of meeting, and the sons of Aaron shall dash its blood against all the sides of the altar. You shall present as your offering from it an offering by fire to the Lord. The fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat that is around the entrails, the 2 kidneys with the fat that is on them at the loins, and the appendage of the liver, which you shall remove with the kidneys. Then the priest shall turn these into smoke on the altar as food offering by fire for a pleasing odor. And then a verse that a long time ago somebody showed me as like somehow this justifies all fat is the Lord's. It shall be a perpetual statute throughout your generations. In all your settlements you must not eat any fat or any blood. So the offerings of well-being, we're going to go have barbecue. We're going to go give some to God, and then we're going to have meat, and we're going to eat meat together at the temple and have a party. But when they do that, all of the fat inside of it, all the entrails, are to go to God and be burned up. So no fat, no blood. And I often hear, I've heard before about Jewish people not eating blood, but you're not supposed to be eating fat either, like suet or all of these types of things. Can I get through one? The next chapter is much longer, so I think we're going to say, I don't think the entire book of Leviticus is about offerings, but a lot of it is. And it's about how to do these offerings. So they've established the tabernacle, they've built the altar, they've created this place to worship God, and now they're talking about how to worship God. And you bring an animal, you bring a cow or a sheep, a bull, a male cow, or a sheep or a goat, and you can burn it all up and give it to God. You can also give some of it to the priests, and much of it you get to keep and eat and have a barbecue. So, but it's the beginning of how do we do this? And sacrificing, burning things up for God was not limited to the Israelites. This was a widespread practice that somehow the odor goes up to God and God finds it pleasing. And then, of course, giving a portion to the priests. How did the priests get their living? Was because they were fed by the sacrifices. Tomorrow we'll pick up on chapter 4, and we get to hear about sin offerings, which actually looks like it's a couple of chapters long. But the idea of how do you be right with God? How do you be right with one another? And humans have struggled with this for a very long time and try to find the way that they can be right with God. And of course, Christianity talks about God himself has made it possible for us to be at peace with him. But this is kind of at the beginning, and we're hearing how to do the sacrifices through the priest system. So now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Go in peace, serve the Lord. Thanks be to God. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Take care.